fantastic. So, Zach, what have you been up to?
I was definitely playing Animal Crossing while listening to them,
You're not the only one.
because that's pretty much been my life.
Has it been good?
It's been quite nice, very relaxing. Pretty much exactly what I need right now is something to play continuously and constantly that is mindless.
I understand. I would say
And also
this...
like very very like happy. Like
Mhm.
it's a very like joyous game. There is no like sad things that happen in it.
Right. I want to do like both basically. I want to go back and forth between playing the games and dealing with my friends, and not dealing with, but communicating with my friends, and everybody's having issues. I saw Ashley's post, Dylan's wife, earlier today, and like as everybody's having issues, like I want to be there for all of the people that I care about as well. So
We
we'll
had
do it
people
all.
over last night as the kind of last day before they enforced the quarantine for Tarrant County,
Uh-huh.
and we had been storing up a large quantity of peanut butter beers and peanut butter and jelly beers that we just kind of accrued over the course of probably 3 or 4 months now.
Mhm.
Just sat down with 5 or 6, or I think there was 7 of us, and just kind of went through them all. Just had a fun time as
Check
kind of
the
the last
lore, alright?
hoorah before we have to start lying. I mean, telling the cops that we were going to the grocery store when we're going to a friend's house.
Right. Yeah, that's been a. I can't say I haven't been tempted to do something along that lines myself, but I've kept it straight, and it's just me and a cat. Here we go. A cat and Allison.
Let's see how long she stays there.
Cat butt. Here we go. Can this thing spin? This doesn't spin. I absconded with one of the stools from Free Play Richardson.
I'm gonna say that's a very familiar looking stool.
Let's look this way, cat butt. Yeah, no, the height was necessary. There we go. Your own green screen cat adventure. So, part of the reason I asked you to come on, Zach, now is because of what's going on now. One of the ways that you can support Free Play as they try and just sort of drag their way through this. This is very, very hard time for all of us, especially small businesses. I know Civil Poor has been forced to shutter.
Yeah.
Yes, you're a former employee, Chad Montgomery, who, by the way, I've invited to join us, so hopefully he can join us soon. But Beating Dreams has been forced closed as well. Allison's in the other room setting up a stream for her away game studio, I guess. But yeah, this is certainly going around, and Free Play Denton can be open for essential services. They are the essential craft beer and craft cider through the drive-through window only, starting at 3 p.m. So if you want to stock back up on your peanut butter beer, I'm not sure if they have that available. I'm not sure what the tap list exactly is right now.
I've been looking through it. I don't know if they have any, but they got some good other stuff.
XEL Chucky says, just hold on, my boys. That is exactly what we're trying to do, and that is what you're helping us do. Even just watching, sharing this, retweeting it, what do they call it on Twitch? Hosting it. Every little bit helps. We are the custodians of Free Play Arcade now. We will get it back. All the equipment is still there. I was there 2 days ago. And Free Play Richardson is getting awful crowded with some of the additional arcade cabinets that they're tossing in there. But if we can get it through here and Free Play opens back up, it's going to be the biggest party ever. The biggest party ever. Social distancing might be out the window for a day. But I look forward to that day. Plum pudding, also good beer. I need to be quiet because I don't know beer, and you're my man. So why don't we have a little impromptu FPHops live?
Yeah. I guess going off of plum pudding, yeah. That I'm just looking at the Free Play Denton website, figuring out what they have.
Do you need me to vamp some more?
Do what?
Do you need me to vamp some more while you research?
Oh no, you're good. I can research live and talk about stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah, plum pudding is honestly fantastic. The color's a little weird, just because it's got plums in it. It's like purple, but not like the bright, vibrant purple. It's like a really dark, kind of funky purple. Um, but putting plums in a sour does not sound good. Usually, they nail it, as Martin House does about half the time. Uh, what else? They have ingenious mango creamsicle froyo. Their milkshake IPAs are always fantastic. They anytime they put like fruit, or they have a coconut one too. It's like a coconut vanilla milkshake IPA. It's literally just tastes like a milkshake. It also is alcoholic.
All
Let's
right.
see. What's up?
How about I give you somebody to riff off of. Let's pretend I made a life decision change, and I'm actually going to enjoy some craft beers and ciders. Let's say, I know my grandparents taught me to stick to one beer and one beer only, and that's Miller Lite.
Okay.
That's what I remember ubiquitously in my house, and I will tell you, for 4 years, 4 decades, I've been jealous of those that enjoy themselves in imbibing in the alcoholic beverages, because I would go to the beer store, right? And there's just like, if I want to drink non-alcoholic stuff and I want some variety, I have tea, coffee, and coffee is a modern, in the last 20 years, thing to sort of open itself up to different flavors. Kool-Aid, water, milk. And, there's just not a lot of variety for me there. And then I go into the alcohol store and I see shelves and shelves and shelves of beers and alcohols and spirits and wines and champagnes, and like the potential for flavor and taste is so much bigger in that world. And then in the recent years, the craft beer explosion here in Texas and throughout the nation. And is it further than just the nation? Is craft beer a massive thing everywhere in the world?
It's mostly, I would say, as far as craft beers, it is mostly an American thing.
Okay.
But there are other breweries pretty much completely around the nation, or
Yeah.
around the world, that are doing a lot of different things. European brewers are starting to get a little bit more creative, as far as I know. But like all of the crazy stuff, like the kind of throat at the wall flavors that you're thinking of, is mostly an American thing currently.
Gotcha. So yeah, let's go at it like that. Like, I'm new to this, and I'm gonna try me some craft beers and craft ciders. Like, let's go wildly different. And on your recommendation, like, where am I
Yeah,
going, and why
you're talking about.
specifically? Because
Uh,
you're gonna throw out terms like hoppy, and I'm gonna be like, what does that even mean?
yeah, and it's such a tough term nowadays. I don't know. It's like anything. Whenever you start learning more about it, you realize that you know absolutely nothing.
Hmm.
Um,
And
but
you worked for a brewery as well as a brewer.
not
What's
as a brewer, but I was.
were you
I helped
involved
out
in the
project for a little
production
while.
side at any
Yeah,
point? Yeah.
yeah, I helped canning some stuff.
Okay.
But honestly, Hop and Sting's Aluminum Cowboy kind of caught my radar recently as just like a light beer. You were talking about Miller Lite earlier.
Uh-huh.
It's not like incredibly flavorful. Like, oh my gosh, it's got this amazing plum flavor or this mango flavor. But if you want something to sit out on a lovely day, or to take on a walk with you,
Mm-hmm.
or just to I believe the term is a patio pounder. Um,
I saw some patio pounding on my walk around the neighborhood just now. So
Excellent.
feel you there. Is it so? Is it the flavor more like? Because when I think of like sitting out on the patio and having something, I think of something like a black tea. Not explosive in flavor at all, but kind of,
Exactly. It's
yeah,
something that you're more than happy to have. You get through one, you
refreshing.
go, you know what, I'll have another one.
Yeah.
Not something that you almost use as like a nightcap.
Right. Right.
Um, Los Locos, also by Epic Brewing, which is also all these beers that I mentioned are going to be at Free Play Denton. I'm just kind of going based on their list.
Can you see the chat, by the way?
I can now.
Okay. Yeah. I just know that they're talking about different
Oh
place.
yes, patio. Yes, no, it's I don't know what Chris was saying on his walk, but no, Patio Pounder is actually the name of a beer already. Funny enough, Cedar Creek up. I think I don't remember. They're in the local area,
Hmm.
but they do create a beer called Patio Pounder already.
Have you had it? Do you know what theirs is? Theirs
Yeah, I mean it's
along that
exactly what it.
lines?
Yeah, it's exactly what it
Uh,
claims to be. It's something that you can sit on your front porch and enjoy many, many, many of them. Um, Los Locos by Epic Brewing also would be a good entry beer. More of if you like Mexican style lagers, I guess. The Coronas, Dos Equis, stuff like that.
What would be the main difference there? I mean, I know what the difference is in Mexican food and American food, but I doubt you're talking about beers with jalapenos and
Right.
and cheese tossed in. Or maybe you are. I don't know.
I
And all I know about tequila is from Mexico is that there's a worm involved, and that's it.
yes,
So,
they're. I think so. I'm not a tequila expert, unfortunately, although I
yeah.
do
So
drink
that's
quite a bit
for
of
the
it.
tequila show later in the week, but it's definitely late night.
Yeah, I don't know the best way to describe the difference between American and Mexican beer. It's one of those you just have it, and American beer tends to be lighter.
Hmm.
Like it's honestly less flavorful than Mexican beer, but both of them are very, very drinkable.
And when you say that, do you, like when you say American beer, are you talking about like the brands of yesteryear that are
Yeah,
not? Yeah, I got
that's
you.
really what I mean.
Yeah,
The
big
style of
brands.
beer is qualified as a American light lager,
Hmm.
typically.
Hmm.
So Bud Light, Miller Light, and or Coors Light are all three considered American light lagers. So whenever you talk about Mexican lagers, they're considered international lagers,
Hmm.
and they just taste very slightly different. Less, I think they use less rice,
Yeah,
which to give them a little bit more
Simple
flavor.
Interest says corn sourced. I don't know what that exactly means, but he's right about that. He says Corona is corn sourced.
I am not sure on how they make Corona. To be perfectly honest.
Ah, sorry to
No, you're good.
distract. Yeah.
No. But yeah, I mean, Los Locos is basically they took a Mexican style lager recipe, but they added salt and lime already into it.
Uh-huh.
It's been a kind of a favorite of quite a few free play employees over the years. It's just good. It's one of those it was just a smart decision they made whenever they were like, we're gonna go ahead and make this beer. We're gonna put the lime and salt in it.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic.
I will have. So this is when I spent some time in Mexico. The resort goers suddenly a lap kitty here. This is a new development. The resort goers when I went to Mexico were not happy that I was not a drinker because they were paying a significant amount of money and they knew that my entry there was also a significant amount of money per day. And part of it was you get full access to 6 bars or whatever, and poolside bars, and unlimited drinks of any variety. And it was like the movie Cocktail, where you just had like showers of alcohol in every direction. So, and then I was just saying like a water. Give me water. Do you have coffee in the back? Something like that. People were taking it really personal that I was abusing the privilege, right? So I had to get into the habit of ordering virgin drinks, right? So
Make it look like you had something.
yes, but on the other side of that, it meant I had a real cocktail, yeah.
Right.
But just without the alcohol. So
Yeah.
the mojito de café sin alcohol, and then the confused reply the first like 7 times was sin. Do you know what that means? Yes.
Sin.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, without, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. So they had to do a double take, and then once they got to know who I was at the resort, like yeah, they would give me just the most elaborate cocktail possible, and then I would be cheers and things, but the salt and the lime, it really adds to the flavor of a lot of drinks, and I very much grew to love that, like that, and mint leaves and drinks, and yeah, just something about that really, really does speak to me. So that's on my list. I'm making a list right now, and that's high on it because it
Okay.
includes that flavor.
Ian makes a good point that Modelo Negra is a fantastic beer. In the chat.
Yes, and I was looking at the gluten-free comment.
Oh yeah. I don't know if
Barley? What, corn would be gluten-free? Not barley?
yeah,
I'm just gonna
corn would
scroll
be
back up.
gluten-free. Barley is not.
I can look over here. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, that might be more popular in my house. What kind is that? So Coronas?
I don't.
Or
think
just beer made with corn would be gluten-free. I live
Right,
with somebody who has gluten allergy, so
Yeah, most of the time, whenever you make beer, you have to put barley into it. It's just part of the chemical makeup that just causes the correct amount of sugars to be inside of it. A lot of the ways that people actually make gluten-free beers by filtering a lot, which ends up at the end result being less than the parts per million required to be gluten-free. For example, Legal Draft, actually in Arlington, which you can walk to from Free Play Arlington, has a beer called Free and Clear, and it is I believe a gluten-free blonde, and it's just they filter it to the point where it meets the requirements for being gluten-free.
I believe the brewmaster, or the I'm not sure what the name of the man in charge of making the beer is at Legal Draft.
Head brewer.
Head brewer of Legal Draft appeared on FPHops.
Maybe he did. I'm not quite sure.
Someone came over
I
from
know
there.
they recently changed head brewers, and they've had a few changes, but that's about it.
Gotcha. Yeah, but I remember there's a coffee shop right over there as well, Urban Alchemy.
Yep.
Since we're shouting out all the places that we can't go to, yeah, I would walk over there and grab me some coffee and walk right by Legal Draft. So very familiar.
Yeah.
Legal Draft, the major.
And then all ciders are pretty much gluten-free.
Yes.
Unless they add something.
Yes, and that was my get around is I would go to Free Play Denton, which is open right now.
Yeah.
In like 30 seconds, you can get
30
drive-through. But yeah, I would, if that were me, I would be going out there and getting a 64-ounce fill of craft cider, and I literally, I would always ask the bartender's advice on it. So Emily, community liaison back in her bartender days, would help me pick out a cider. Cody hooked me up with a good one, and then Corey, I went there late. At one time, I hit the full Free Play road trip, right? Had to film a podcast late after doing multiple events at multiple locations, and ended it at Free Play Denton. And he's like, "Best cider here, it's this one." I want to say it was like the Finn River Lavender. And they had it. Yeah, that's the one that like I saw just everywhere. Like Finn River Lavender. If you ask me, a layperson, of what's the best cider ever produced. Like that's got to be the one, because I see everybody like just swearing by it. But yeah, so he said get that one, and then he like kind of scratched his head and he's like, that's a lot. Let me make it half price for you. And so I got a half price 64-ounce growler of Finn River Lavender and enjoyed none of it, but I left it in the house and it was gone quite quickly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me at all. That they make, probably even me as a, I guess, not lay person, says that they probably make some of the best cider in the country.
Mm-hmm.
At least that I've had. I haven't found anybody that makes things like them. They do such a good job of not making it too sweet, but also the flavors that they are using are not trying to kill you.
Oh yeah, just with the over sweetness.
Yeah, either over sweetness or just like it tasting like juice instead of cider. I've had some ciders that literally it's like, okay, this has pineapple juice in it. It's like, okay, this just tastes like pineapple juice, not cider. But
right, yeah,
I'm into it. Like, I like pineapple juice.
I kind of get bummed about that when it comes to mixed juice drinks as well, because like I just want to like I said, my thought on craft beers and all drinks is I want different flavors.
Right.
So you go to the grocery store and you get something that doesn't say 100% juice, or even if it does say 100% juice, and it's some sort of cocktail mixture. It's like 98% apple juice. So, what variant of apple juice do you want? You want a slight hint of coconut in your apple juice, or a slight hint of this, and the ability to just get like the real flavor in it.
Yeah,
It sounds fantastic.
Yeah, and while cider is apple based, if it's done well, I mean,
Yeah, and
especially
cider is
in
clearly
River's
apple-based.
case,
Like, of course, it would taste like apples, but even things that aren't advertised as such, they would just cut it with like 98% apple juice. So it's
Right.
100% real juice, and 98% of it is apple.
Yeah, not the juice you're buying, but
Yeah.
But yeah, the Finn River stuff, like currants, are not a common thing that I get to have outside of drinking. Honestly, it's not like I've ever sought out going to have black or red currants as a flavor, and so it's really cool to have all of the alcoholic beverages that have different flavors like that.
What is it? What is black? What is a currant?
It's a very small berry fruit. It's close to grapes.
Okay.
It's like
okay.
kind of wine-like flavor.
Uh-huh.
It's really, really good. I think Martin House has done some sours with it that have been fantastic. They actually did a side-by-side with red and black currants in 2 different cans. That was kind of cool. Side note, Free Play Denton actually does have a peanut butter beer, and it's probably one of the best peanut butter beers I've ever had. Tops my list. Tops a lot of people's lists that I've talked to about it, which is the Untitled Art Peanut Butter Stout. If you're going to Free Play Denton and you really don't know what to get, just go ahead and get that. It's 12% alcohol, but you crack it open and it is about the best smelling thing I think I've ever had as far as an alcoholic beverage.
Does it smell of peanut butter?
Yes, it smells like straight peanut butter. Like, I spent, the first time I tried that, I'm pretty sure I spent like about 5 minutes just smelling it before I even tasted it, because I couldn't get over how good the smell was.
But let me ask you this. How does the caloric content like match up to things like soda or just peanut butter, for that matter? Is it?
I'm pretty sure it's
all over the place, or
by volume, probably it's better for you than eating straight, 12 ounces of peanut butter.
Which sounds delightful right now.
But they also had.
What about like craft beer versus like soda? Is it similar?
Some of the darker stuff, like, it's basically the darker the beer, typically the higher the calories. But that's not always the case. Usually it is kind of, you could probably draw a line between dark beer and high alcohol and being more calories, which is just inherent in like what you're drinking, because alcohol is calories.
Yeah, because me, I'm obsessed with flavor. So the description you said of having that waft of peanut butter, like, I miss it so much from my childhood when I would just have peanut butter sandwiches, partly out of necessity because we couldn't afford jelly, but like, oh, it was so good. And the Reese's peanut butter with the peanut butter and the chocolate combined, great, but like not good for my figure. So,
oh yeah,
if I could have it with my drink and have it be somewhere between soda and my black coffee that's like 2 calories, then all the better for me.
Yeah.
Oh, and Simple Interest says Guinness is actually lower calorie. I don't know what that.
Yeah, and I was gonna make that's kind of where that high ABV point that I was coming out came from. Was I remembered that Guinness was actually like 100 calories, which is kind of awesome. Real quick, did you mean that Untitled Art has a maple stout, or Free Play Denton has a maple stout right now? Because I know Untitled Art had a maple chocolate vanilla stout that was fantastic, but it basically hit market and everyone found out it was so fantastic and immediately disappeared into the nether.
How does that work? Like, you would think high demand, like you make another batch, right?
Yeah, they're kind of strange. Untitled Art does a lot of collaboration. So they'll go to another brewery and say, hey, we want to brew a beer with you. And Untitled Art, as their name suggests, makes great can art.
Okay.
So they'll go to other breweries. In the case of the maple one, they went to one of the best sweet stout brewers in the nation called Angry Chair, and they did a collaboration with them. And whenever everybody found out that uh, that brewery was going to be in market, because they typically aren't,
Okay.
and B, it was so good, it all got purchased up. But I don't know if they'll ever make it again, or at least if they do, it won't be soon, because high demand does not necessarily mean that they're wanting to make it again. I know a lot of people say that breweries like Martin House should make like all kinds of things again and again and again, but they really want to continue moving forward.
How do you
trying
feel?
new
How do you
things.
personally feel about that sort of thing?
I've gotten to the point that I would love to see the same thing over and over, and I can find those beers that I love, but ultimately I would like to see craft beer be pushed in directions that are completely new. And it's a creative thing, I think, ultimately, for some of those brewers. Like, they really want to do things that are new and trendy, and find out if things work. And I mean, hell, people are putting cream cheese in beer now, and it
Nice.
works, and I'm very concerned, but it works.
I want a mixture. I want a mixture of the experimental with also the hits, and I wanna like, I think of they I don't know. Are you familiar with Spooky Pinball?
No, but I
You
was
might.
gonna say it's like old bands like singing their greatest hits.
Yeah, and they always mix in the new song off the new track
Yeah,
off
yeah,
this
yeah.
album. Yeah, that's an opportunity for them. Although they get pigeonholed way more than anybody else.
Oh, okay.
But I was thinking of Spooky Pinball. They make Total Nuclear Annihilation, and
Oh, okay.
okay, so tables like that, and they're a very very small outfit. Just a few people work for Spooky, but what they do is they're essentially a craft pinball group, for lack of a better term. They specialize in limited run, unique pinball machines, and I mean unique. Well
Like they only
designed.
make one.
No, not one. More like 600.
Okay.
But that's it. They're gonna make 600, and that's it. It's truly experimental, and some interesting stuff like Alice Cooper's Nightmare Mansion or Nightmare Castle, I think was one
Okay.
that I saw last year. And then they have a table in Total Nuclear Annihilation, which even you are familiar with. That's their hit, right? It revolutionized, maybe not revolutionized, but sort of it went in a direction which no other pinball company had gone in a long time, and really helped bring people into the pinball scene like myself. So this is a tried and true table at this point, that tastes great, and it's great for anybody who's looking to start pinball. So they'll go back and forth between their development cycles. So they'll produce a cool product, like a cool craft beer, like you were mentioning, the experimental. But then they go back and produce more of this one that like that's the hit, right? So
Right.
a model more like that seems more something that would be more advantageous. At least I would love to see from any kind of company, including an arcade company that's staying loyal to old school games, but maybe not as hesitant to jump into new school things like streaming.
Yeah. It's super interesting. Like, I like the pinball reference because it makes a lot of sense to me with why they would do something like that. And it's the same reason of maybe taking and making smaller things that are a little bit more out there, and then using the lessons that you've learned in order to create a better, larger product.
And I just like that there's a functioning like craft pinball, basically.
Yeah,
I mean,
I didn't know that existed. That's awesome.
it really is. It really is. It's just like 10 of them. So it is very much functioning like a craft brewery would. But yeah, they're just cranking out pinball machines. And at this point, they've got so much heat that Scott Danesi, an incredible pinball coder, is a part of making tables. Todd Bowen Kearns, I believe, who's Bowen Kearns is maybe not the best pinball player in the world, but I will absolutely say he's the best pinball streamer in the world. And he can I can lose at a game on camera, but he will just play it and beat it, like straight up, like just start and just get all the way to the wizard mode and show you every little thing the table can do and every multi-ball and everything and beat it. And literally like catch the ball and be like, now I'm going to make this shot and make the shot. So he knows about how the rules, like he has his thoughts about how rules should be and what's fun in pinball. And they're pretty informed, I would say, as a pinball player. So he helped code Alice Cooper. So really interesting to be inside like that. Thoughts on Crispin Brown's Lane Cider?
Crispin Brown's Lane. Hold on. This is the one that I'm thinking of. I need to find out.
Have the major in the chat. Would love to talk to the major as well after another time. Get a little bit more of her story.
Yeah. No, this isn't. I don't think I've had this Crispin. I've had their natural hard apple cider, which is like the blue, but the pictures that I'm coming up with are... No, I think this is all the same. If it's the same Crispin that was at Free Play Arlington whenever I was working there, yes. It was really good, just regular dry cider. Like, nice apple flavor, but not trying to, like, not tasting like apple juice, thankfully. Not as sweet. Yeah, I don't know of any other Crispin, unfortunately. My cider has unfortunately gone by the wayside recently, just because beer's taken over and a little bit of whiskey has taken over as well.
Craft whiskey is in vogue now?
Yeah, it's been in vogue for a few years now, and it's a rich man's game, so not terribly
that is not
well-versed on
me.
it.
I am unemployed.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, I even employed, I could barely keep up with some of it, but it's really cool. Kind of
what was
different.
What was your go-to cider?
My go-to cider?
Like you said you lost your cider because of the market change.
Oh, I just stopped keeping up with all the like new ciders that were coming out.
Gotcha.
I actually liked a lot of the shilling stuff that kind of fell out of the market. I don't know where it went. I think people just stopped carrying it, but they had a really good pineapple passion fruit cider. That was really, really good.
Do you have any more recommendations for us? We can go through the list, and we've got time, and then afterwards we can. I know where we can change the subject, and when you run out of steam.
Yeah, let's see. I'll just go through the entire list. Chester King's Snorkel is actually really cool. They make it with, it's a sour that they make with oyster mushrooms and salt.
What?
Yeah, that's the appropriate response to that.
So,
but
it tastes like mushrooms and salt?
Yeah, kinda. It's more of a umami kind of flavor.
Okay.
So it's a little richer than just tasting straight up like mushrooms. Doesn't taste meaty though.
Right. Yeah.
I don't want to mean that it tastes like, rich or like meat. It's more of like
I wouldn't think the texture is like mushrooms. That would be extra disgusting.
And then, yeah, it tastes like blue cheese. That's probably closer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it's good with bacon. Oh my goodness.
I could
see again all these flavors.
Yeah, I could see that working good with bacon because the funk would go well with kind of the bacon grease, just richness. Had a smoked beer in Germany that tastes like ham. Yeah, I've had smoked beer before. It's not my cup of tea. It's just weird. I don't like drinking a campfire.
The major wants a growler of cider, please. I'll pay you back. I would absolutely buy you a cider, but it's not going to be good by the time you get here. We need the major back. I want the major back here in the free play universe, not overseas fighting infection. And I know she escaped, but she's not in Texas yet that I know of. Come back to Texas. I would play the Bowling for Soup song right now, Ohio, but it's not it would get us in trouble with the YouTube police.
Right. The red wine freaky deaky is actually really good too. They take a Belgian Tripel, which is typically like a high ABV thing, and then age it in red wine barrels.
Mm-hmm.
So it's wine-like, but all the best parts of wine without being just straight wine. I don't know. It's the best I can pitch that beer, honestly. Let's see. Yeah, they have a ton of good like drinking beers, which I'm very happy with. I voted 903's fruit beer. I think it's like a blueberry and strawberry beer. Again, the color looks purple, which is very concerning, but it's very fruity.
Well, if it's blueberry
very
and strawberry, then that blue,
Yeah,
blue and red makes sense to be purple.
Yeah, it's one of those makes sense, but it still
It's
looks
still
weird.
jarring when you have a glass of purple thrown in front of you. Here, enjoy this.
Oh yeah, exactly.
It's
and
beer
especially
from an anime.
Yeah, and it's not even like bright purple like grape soda. It's like a very dull purple, which if I didn't know what it was, it would look very unappealing.
Forgive me.
And then I guess Thunderstone deserves a shout out because they're out of business, and not because of coronavirus, but just because they just didn't make it, or maybe they knew something and they knew coronavirus was coming.
Yeah, I feel like I have to apologize every time I sneeze now. I just walked around the neighborhood, and it is spring. I'm feeling all right though. I'm feeling all right.
I went outside earlier and mowed the yard, and I was very concerned because I was sneezing, and I was like, please, nobody. It's literally just I have grass everywhere.
Right. What kind of beer would you consider better? Something you can drink a lot of, or one that's really good but you only really drink 1 pint of?
That's such a it's like an apples and oranges thing to me. I think.
Yeah, you probably say both, right?
Yeah, if you would have asked me probably like 2 years ago, I would have said like whatever, like give me the thing that's super flavorful, that's super amazing, that like is a once in a lifetime opportunity. But now I am probably closer to even, if not a little bit, drink a lot of camp, just because I understand that like I'm not gonna always want this nightcap beer where I just have one and then I'm like either very intoxicated or want to go to bed.
Right.
I want to have something that I can drink quite a bit of.
Yeah, if you want to continue to socialize and experience your day.
Exactly.
You don't want to hit the Robitussin beer.
Yeah. Salty Lady's kind of a weird exception because it's actually a drinking beer, but also it's incredibly sour. Like I put that beer in the camp of it's got to be like at least 85 outside for me to drink it.
Because it's like lemonade with the sour?
No, it's like lemonade with the sour, but it's also incredibly refreshing.
Okay.
Like go outside and do yard work and get a little bit of sweat on you before you drink it, and it's like Gatorade with how salty it is. It's just you taste it and you go, okay, this is. I feel my electrolytes coming back to me, I guess. Yeah, but I would say I'm more in the camp of going toward beers that I can drink quite a bit of. It's just kind of where I'm at currently. Also, it's much cheaper and more efficient at some point. Like the seltzers nowadays are actually hitting me, unfortunately.
Hitting you?
Like I'm starting to get into the hard seltzers.
How are they? Like what do you prefer?
The truly lemonade ones are my swill of choice. Oh man, somebody mentioned Radlers. Radlers are great. Radlers are by style. Radlers are, I think, half beer and half soda water. Mm-hmm. So they're really fun because you can have like grapefruit Radlers that are basically like 2.9 or even lower percent ABV. So basically nothing.
So very drinkable.
But very, very, very drinkable. To the point that I don't know if you would probably have a stomachache before you actually got drunk off.
Fair enough. I should point out too, the request lines are open. We have 2 open spots. I messaged Chad. I think I caught him off guard with this little notice, but he might be able to jump in. And actually, let me let you take the show for a little bit. I know Corey is trying to reach me, so I'll be right back.
Oh yeah. The vodka and Radlers is actually the way to go if you're actually trying to get intoxicated off them. The Shiner Prickly Pear is really good. I'm actually very happy with that beer. It's surprisingly drinkable. They're the what is it? They did the Strawberry Blonde as well. That grab a 6-pack of that, you're good to go. Like, I think I'm getting to the point now that the drinking beers are back, especially with the weather. It's kind of a weird thing where you hunker down for the winter and you want to drink all the super dark beers that are, keep you warm, and you have one or two and you're ready to go to bed. And then summertime is more of a I want to be outside and enjoy the sunshine for as long as possible and drink all the time. That being said, in about July, I will randomly, it's about July or August that I'll hit a point where I go, man, I really want something incredibly high ABV, incredibly dark, and it'll go for about a week where I just want nothing but super, just incredibly dark stouts. And then it'll go away and I'll move back to regular drinking beer for the rest of the summer. But it's very, very bizarre. It's like the Christmas in July kind of thing. And yeah, the drinking beers are back. We'll see how long it lasts. Thankfully for Free Play Denton, restaurants and alcohol dispensaries are still considered essential businesses, which means we can all go to Denton and get beer. Yeah, I'm really curious what their package menu is. I can't seem to find it anywhere, but I would love, because I know at least whenever Cody was up there and I was going there a little bit more often, they had a really, really good selection of package beers that, even though they had 52 taps, for some reason they just still would, I would look in that fridge and there would be one or two sleepers in there every time that were just fantastic. Now they have a little bit of they have 3 fridges that just sit up on the counter, and they have I think they actually sell Yoo-Hoo there, or they used to.
Let me interrupt you just a little bit and keep that thought, because I'm going to ask you to resume here in a second. But I do have some breaking news as I just talked to Corey. Of course, Free Play Denton is open for your craft beer and craft cider needs right now from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, and every bit of purchased product from Free Play Denton through the drive-in is going to help the arcade and help save the arcade. But I reached out to some of my contacts at The Ticket, the sports radio station in the area that we just got through with ticket stock, and they are trying to pick up our cause. So what they're going to do is run some self-recorded Save Free Play ads on their station. So The Ticket will try their best to help with our cause of keeping arcades alive, even though they are quite literally illegal right now. So that's my bit of breaking news. The Ticket's gonna throw us a bone and try and help the cause. So looking forward to them. I've also reached out to some of my Ticket contacts and see if they don't mind rolling in for a little bit while we have an endless amount of time for guest stars and whatnot. So before you continue, Chris, wanted to check in to see if you need anything. Been really busy today. Oh, that's from Josh. No, we've been good. It's been a fantastic show with VGM Wednesdays, and Zach here is trying to turn me into an alcoholic, and I'm listening even more intently than normal.
Funny enough, we were actually talking about, I left off with, I think Free Play Denton sells Yoo-Hoos.
Yes, they do, and I've had a Yoo-Hoo there.
I love it.
Yes, gotta shake it.
Yeah, but they have a package selection up in Denton. People that I was telling people about that I'm pretty sure they sleep on.
Oh, they have a package. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they do. They have a package beer selection that I think just because they have 52 taps there that nobody really thinks about.
Yeah. I mean, I was always the fan of Tap 52 itself, which was That
coffee.
civil pour cold brew coffee.
Yeah, it looks like it's out. Looks like the coffee was the first thing to go.
I mean, that was surely my fault. I think I've got some.
You
you see my door there. See if I can work on that while you vamp. Sorry about that.
But yeah, they have I think they have Yoo-Hoo. They had like a few different craft. They had like Calypso lemonades, which were like craft lemonades that were very, very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
They had one that was a coconut lime lemonade or a coconut limeade or something. That if I could find, I would purchase a large quantity of if it didn't have like 5 million grams of sugar in it.
I talking about Free Play Denton and its 52 taps. I got I'm sure some of you know that I got into Killer Queen. Just sort of when we got the machine. Maybe is there a to-go menu in Denton? There's no food in Denton, if that's what you mean. There is to-go craft beer and cider. They don't have a kitchen in Free Play Denton, so you can't get any Free Play food to go. That being said, if you want Free Play food, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Free Play Richardson will be open for to-go orders. Ian posted the beer menu for Free Play Denton right there in the chat. But that's what we're left with is from the 52 taps, and I'm trying to push this giant CRT just a little bit over. There we go. There we go. Now I'm magically teleported back into the Free Play Arcade away game studios. Tap 52. So I got asked to join a Killer Queen team because we don't have a ton of dedicated Killer Queen teams. Every time I get a good player, they move away to Spain for no reason at all. And so I was invited to join a team, and they named themselves after my favorite drink at Free Play Denton. So it was Tap 52. That's the name of our team, and it's, of course, they talk about their tap speed and my notoriously fast tap speed. I have to thank Austin Smith for that because I use all 3 fingers. But yeah, so a little bit of pun as the Killer Queen players are wont to do, and they name themselves Tap 52 in honor of Free Play Denton's coffee.
Oh, how funny.
Yeah, and Civil Pours, of course. So, sorry to interrupt with my breaking news, but you can get back to your regularly scheduled craft beering.
Oh no, I'm excited.
Hmm? Yeah,
like,
no.
The ticket's gonna be fun. Like I think it'll bring a lot of awareness to all the people who are like, oh man, I didn't even think about that.
I sure hope so.
Might be affected by this.
I sure hope so. We're trying. Like we were among the hardest hit because
timing.
Timing, yes, because this is our busiest. Like last week was our busiest week, except last week didn't exist. That was
right.
spring break. But also, you talk about social distancing. There's nothing social distancing about a Dynamo cab playing fighting games literally shoulder to shoulder. They are,
in fact, the opposite.
Killer Queen, a 10-player game where 5 people share each cabinet, literally rubbing shoulders. They just you can't play them right now. Like I'm playing on Super Guns and playing by myself, and we're making do with Fightcade at night when we do our little first attends and try and introduce people to games. Arcade games.
I heard y'all talking earlier, and it's just not the same.
It's not the same at all. It's not the same at all, and it always has been, a poor man's excuse, right? But we're the poor man right now. We were spoiled rotten by Free Play Arcade, having all the original equipment and in the originally intended formats, and it helped us a ton. But now, we're making do, and it's just not welcome in society at this moment. We're gonna get through this together, and we're helping pull them through it all. But yeah, good to have the ticket.
And we'll all be much happier because Free Play exists. It's a break.
I can't wait
to learn or to understand again exactly why you love having the original hardware.
Yes. Well, I can't tell you how many messages I've gotten where, in the past few days where it's just like, oh, we were spoiled. You were right all that whole time. Like it was that good. Yes. No, it always was. In my opinion, Free Play Arcade Free Play Richardson, like all of them, and because they shared the same games and same techs and same standard for quality, like I don't really, people would ask me all the time which was my favorite Free Play, and that's just not a fair question because they all kind of go together in their quality and presentation, and it's collectively the best arcade in the country.
Yeah. And they all have pretty much, I mean, not all have the same games, but a lot of the games rotate in such a way that most likely a lot of the games have probably been at multiple locations.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's not just one location being better than the other. It's a living organism.
Yes. I'm going to research Wheel Or's question about when we do Fightcade stuff. If you can take it for a sec.
Yeah. Somebody was saying earlier that having a fight stick in your lap is just not the same as fighting on the console, and I 100% agree with that because I'll play Cody in Tekken 7 or something, and like it just wiggles in such a way that even if you have an incredibly heavy stick, just the cabinet doesn't wiggle.
No, not at all. And unless the Jerry's on the other side of it, but yeah, it's not the same. And then you have players like Cloud, who was playing ST with us last night, having to try and play it on a pad. So he had he's playing Blanca. That's who he plays all the time, and he couldn't hop. He couldn't do the 3-button, pressing techniques just because there's 2 buttons here and 1 over here. So it's just not the same as the very natural pressing the 3 buttons.
Yeah. It all makes sense whenever you saw the old 3-button controllers that would have all that stuff.
Well, I'll tell you what always confused me as a kid is I like the symmetry of the American arcades. The American Street Fighter machines that had 6 buttons all lined up perfectly in 2 rows. My eyes just liked the symmetry of that look. And I couldn't understand why the Japanese controllers, I'm holding it up right now.
We're at an angle.
Yeah, you can see like there's like a curve to the buttons, and to my eyes that's not symmetrical, and it looks it looks unnatural in a way, and I didn't understand or appreciate it until I saw Carlos, the Grill Master, and Sean Crane, the Fightcade player who once visited Free Play Arcade, play Boxer, and they have to hold tab, so they have to hold all these buttons at the same time, and so that's literally the palm of your hand. Like that's how my hand is shaped.
Yeah.
Right. So it's for pressing all the buttons at the same time, and it's perfect for that.
Yeah, and it looks like Knuckles.
Yeah, it absolutely is, and that's exactly what it is. It's ergonomically for your hand. So. Good job. I wasn't thinking they were.
The Japanese were probably way far ahead on.
Well, they made the
arcade
games.
design.
They made the games.
Yeah.
So of course they were thinking about it.
I wonder if they were always like that though. If they had the symmetrical buttons at some point, and then they realized that it was more ergonomical in order to have.
Well, there was some design issues because like the original Street Fighter was just 1 button or 2 buttons, a kick button and a punch button, and you, depending on how hard you hit it, was what strength you got. So there wasn't 6 buttons at all in the initial one. We're talking Street Fighter 1.
How hard you hit it. Was it how
pressure.
long you hit it?
No, it's pressure sensitive. It's how hard you hit it.
Whoa.
Yeah, no, it's a trip. I talked to the Japanese players who came out to Spring Series last year about it and asked them specifically about it because Matsun always plays on side 2. He plays Ken, and he always requests that he play on the player 2 side. And I asked him, like, why player 2? Like, surely you're good enough on either side. And he says it's more than just wanting to play on player 2 side. That was always his mentality when he played the game Street Fighter 1. And the reason he plays Ken is because Ken is player 2 on Street Fighter 1.
Oh.
He's just a palette swap. So it means a lot to him to play player 2. Even though he's perfectly capable of obliterating me on player 1 side.
Right. How
Sorry.
funny though.
I got when I pressed all the buttons, Neo Geo lit up.
Uh-oh.
Okay, sorry. I got you. Yeah, you were listening to Super Dodgeball there for just a sec.
Tiger, tiger, tiger.
But to answer Wheeler's request or question about when do we do Fightcade, we will probably do it, I'm guessing tonight after Gory Midori, the Doctor of Psychology, will drop by for a half an hour at 6:30. So at 7 o'clock, we're kind of free to do whatever. So sometime between 7 and 10, if not all of 7 to 10, depending on how many players we get, we'll play. And we'll play on Fightcade 2. Fightcade 2. And I do encourage everybody who is stuck at home right now and has access to a PC or a laptop that can handle it, and a wired connection helps as well. Go ahead and get your Fightcade 2, even if you have to play on a keyboard, because beggars can't be choosers. And it's more important for me, in my opinion, right now. Like, you know, Zach, if you wanted to join in, I know you're not an ST aficionado, and we're even looking into other games like King of Fighters 98 and Mortal Kombat 2 and Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, just to sort of experience it together. Because as with all fighting games or all multiplayer games, you just want to play somebody around your level. And us displaced arcade fanatics, we're all at the same level when it comes to these online versions of arcade games. When we're all stuck and like that button didn't work in the way that I had anticipated it, we're all stuck together. So we can all experience it together, and that's frankly what I care about most. So be happy to. And apparently Archvillain, that Archvillain, aka Arshad out in Chicago, and Jeremy Withers. What was that? I feel like I got my my Neo Geo back again. Yeah, they did a set last night, so we can absolutely do a set streamed on Fightcade 2 tonight.